36, 35, 34. Game 1 of Genji vs KT Rolster on patch 10.7 of the LCK Spring Split in 2020. With these drafts, KT has gone for more of a poke-oriented team comp, around with two main front lines with the Braum and the Sej. With the Braum with his ultimate obviously, and Sejuani's ultimate as their real engagers, whereas Genji is drafted with the Azir and the Kalista for their backline consistent DPS versus the poke-oriented team comp of KT Rolster. It'll be interesting to see which runes Varus picks, as he, to go on flavor with the rest of his team comp, a Lethality Varus would probably be what I'd expect, but the reliable damage of more of the on-hit variant with lethal tempo versus the Comet might be what we see. So it seems that he has gone lethal tempo, which assumes he will most likely go on hit with the Blade of the Ruined King into Ginsu's. Genji have been in pretty good form, and they still are on top of the ladder of the LCK at the moment. It'll be interesting to see Vel'Koz in a pro game, because he's a champion that has been really strong for a really long time, but he requires a certain level of mastery in the correct team comp. As we see Ruler trading with Aiming, and Aiming gets the better of him. Yeah, so just a little bit of excitement to start the game. BDD has gone Scorch, which is disappointing to see on the Azir, the scaling pick. You'd like to see the Absolute Focus. Well, he's gone Absolute Focus, which is the team fight rune. Whereas he's gone Scorch instead of gaining the Adaptive Force late game that you probably should take. It seems Jace has taken it too, but it makes more sense as Jace is more poker orientated. But Azir has gone for the Comet build. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. Just some trading back and forth. Set is hiding in this bush. It should be interesting to see what Rascal does. Just walk up and auto attack. Conqueror has been taken for Silas. I haven't seen a Silas jungle in quite a while. In the draft, I thought they obviously picked the set knowing that he can be flexed into the 4 roles of both top, jungle, mid and support, with his strongest being top, weakest being jungle, and just back and forth merry-go-round. Playing in the vision is Tucson. Walks up, misses the stun, lethal tempo proc, and then they'll just back away. Getting autos Ruler onto Aiming, forces the heal, and the rend damage to come through. The Kalista Taric lane has been very oppressive due to Kalista's just dominant early game. Good stun through, and nothing more afterwards. It'll be interesting to see just how much they can get done early as Clids looks to set up the early tower dive. Let's see who starts the aggro. Lands the E. TP coming through, and first blood goes through to Silas as Vel'Koz lands in the bot lane. It was really well executed. They just didn't mess around here as Bono looks to say hi to BDD as he shoves the wave and starts his recall. Those are the early plays that the Taric Kalista can pull off, especially with the ease of the just chaining the CC under turret. Braum actually flashes 4 to try and save the Varus, however Clid does manage to get on top of him at the end and secure the first blood. Now back to this top lane. Sowan actually has a pretty pretty dominant win rate on the Jace, being one of his go-to champions to split so far. He most likely will probably go for either the Mana Moon start with the bag of goodies, or he will go for that full lethality. I was talking about So1's win rate on the Jace, however, Rascal 7 wins, no losses. Ruler and Kellen, no losses just of yet. Enclid's first pick of the Silas in the jungle. This split so far, no losses from Kuro's signature Vel'Koz and So1's Jace, and the rest looking pretty boring. Oh, Az comes through with the pull. Haymaker missing completely, trading back and forth. In this bot lane, Ruler and Kellen just have complete and utter dominance right now. Not letting aiming step off to last hit any of these minions right now. He's having to CS with his Q. Ruler flashing his Samsung emote right there. A little bit of BM. It'll be interesting to see how the Silas can be proactive with this first blood gold. He has gone the red smite as Kellen just walks into that Braum, letting him get a stack of the passive, misses the stun, and they start CSing. Well, in true Gen G fashion, I think not much will go on until this Cloud Drake, which they most likely will look to get as soon as possible, considering how just impactful both the Kalista and Taric ults are for this team. Clid coming down for another gank sitting on the control ward. Doesn't seem to be what he wants to do, and will go looking to secure the Scuttle Crab and get priority for this dragon. Oh, Benno sniffs out Clid hiding in that bush, and they will clear the control wards around this jungle, around the river, to set up for dragon as cleanly as possible. Ruler gets rid of the blast cone, avoiding Tucson from using the blast cone to hop over for Bono to maybe have a different gank path. Bono is invading, looking probably to get some vision down, while he is unsure where the Silas is. This is a little bit risky perhaps. Kuro has gone for Glacial Augment, which is probably the best rune for Vel'Koz. He has gone the CDR Boots Rush as Rascal and So1 goes in, dunks on him. The Sesh is here. She isn't level 6. Rascal flashes away, gets the knock up, the stun. So1, one more shock blast will do it. No, he is safe. And Clid, seeing Sejuani topside, will start up this Cloud Dragon. So the trade will most likely be a 1 to 2 plates on the top side for this Cloud Drake, which, to be honest, KT probably don't want to see going over, because it is quite strong for the ultimates of Gen G. This next one will be an Infernal, so here's to hoping for the Ocean Soul for both teams, because whereas Mountain wouldn't be too bad for KT, for Gen G it wouldn't even compare to how much the Ocean would do for them, that being the Ocean Soul. As we go back to a bit of a lull state here, just CSing up, waiting for the next objective. Rift can be taken in, well, the Rift will come up in 8 seconds. It'll be interesting to see if Gen G look to prioritize that, but at the moment, Rascal going for a little invade, warding the red to see when Sejuani passes to that side to try and track her even more. BDD just shoving in the wave. If you look at the XP levels, BDD has the most XP in this game, followed by Kuro. As Aiming and Tucson come up to the mid lane, looking to try and they're sending 4 to this mid, no, just a 3. Bit of an, I don't know what they're trying to do. I guess they are coming up for the Rift Herald to try and break over some plates as Bono is starting it. It's kind of weird to telegraph KT's telegraphing their whole team coming top for this Herald. Whereas all of this wave, like, how many waves is this Varus missing from the bot lane? I think that's 2 he's missed so far. We'll see if he misses the 3rd, which probably will crash into turret now, as they do rack up the Rift Herald. They haven't lost any plates on the map so far. They have lost 1, so they're trading. We'll see how many plates they only lost the 1 plate, sorry. So the trade actually might be worthwhile, but this CS lead for Ruler CS lead over aiming is starting to grow significantly as he's fallen behind by 20 CS. And if you look to the top side, Set isn't too far behind the Jace, which is ideally where you want to be at as a Set player. Jace really needs to get around 15 to 20 CS ahead of his laner to feel as oppressive as he can with his poke. Sedge will drop this Herald top lane. Jace will manage to get the plate before the Herald goes off, so that'll be 3 plates going to the Jace, 1 solo, 2 to Sejuani, as they're trying to crack open this top lane to get Jace an injection of gold, as he most likely will go for that U moves of the first item. Whereas Set has had to go with the Ninja Tabbies to deal with the oppressive nature of the Jace in the top lane. So the gold lead, this Jace is looking, his pockets are pretty full at the moment, whereas BDD's been farming up 108 CS, CSing it over 10 a minute, same with this Vel'Koz. Both mid lanes doing a great job of ensuring that they don't fall behind the curve of farm, as Azir will just be farming up for that late game. And same with Vel'Koz, as the glacial items aren't too expensive comparatively to what most laners get in the Leondries and the Ludens. The Twin Shadows and the Hextech GLP are a little bit cheaper, so this farm, he should on this next back perhaps get the GLP, even though he is coming back to lane with the Lost Chapter and a Amped Home. KT Rolster looking to go mid on this Azir again. Kuro lands his Q. Azir will just hop away. The Azir pick's just so safe. There's not much you can do where he just hops to his soldiers, sends them back a bit while he's hopping to them, and he's pretty much safe. Bono will clear away this control ward. Kuro last hitter. As we go back to the top lane, not much happening really. Oh, as Bono comes in, dunks upon him, will auto him, knock him away. That's about it for that trade. It's a bit hard to all in a set, especially if he has the defensive boots against the Jace, nullifying a bit of that lethality he's trying to itemize towards. As Bono does look top for the turret dive. This is possible, but they will have to manage. Or as he they've whiffed both the ultimate, and he dunks him away. Rascal with the face breaker, the haymaker, and then that was a really messy dive right there. They do get the kill from just the amount of just damage Jace outputs at this time of the game, but they missed everything. Jace missed the initial shock blast, and Bono whiffs the ultimate. I mean, if Rascal wasn't poked out as much as he was before that dive went off, that could have been a double kill, to be honest. Rascal nearly moved that away. Jace does get first turret gold upon him as we revisit this dive. I mean, Solon's doing a good job, but that Bono just completely whiffs as Set ults Bono away. And then this face breaker comes as he dives, and Solon just with that last shock blast and enhanced auto will finish off the set in the top lane. So1 is now 200 gold ahead of Ruler, the most fed carry with the most gold of this game so far, doing a great job of CSing with that cull he purchased.
I found this on Wikipedia.
Lamau, Google what? As KT will reset Kalista, she has finished off her Cull, so she will sell that. And she will get the Bork. So Kalista's hit her first strong power spike with the tier 2 boots, which will let her to hop around to a longer distance than as Kalista's her auto attack passive, where she hops if she auto attacks. It scales with movement speed, so the tier 2 boots will let her gap close a lot faster as she auto attacks faster with the Zerka Greaves. We do see the Silas coming in, and he'll have to clear that control because he's spotted. Steals the Varus ult. Silas has a lot of great ultimates to steal from this KT roster. He becomes Jace, but better if he steals Jace's ult. Sejuani ult, great engage tool. Vel'Koz's ult, massive amount of damage with the scaling it does come in. As Varus lands a Dark Binding on the Taric, Taric will just get sucked up by Ruler. And great ultimate by the Braum knocks up 2. Kuro coming through with a great ult. Aiming finishes him off. And then we see the set just get completely mangled by the Azir ult. Azir autos coming through. Sejuani does one auto away from the passive proccing as she does it, and Jace will finish her off with finish him off with a shock blast, making that fight 2 for 1, 2 for 0 actually for KT's favor, as they will move to this mid turret. KT's draft is just a lot. They know what they want to do with this draft. They know they want to poke out Gen G as they come to objectives and find skirmishes to hopefully get a pick or two, as they have done so far this game. When you look at Gen G's draft, it's a bit hit or miss. Like, they have drafted the 2 forms of frontline as we come back to this play. Great Dark Binding by aiming, forces out the Kalista ult. Oh, Silas completely whiffs his ult as a knock up on to force a flash of Kalista, as aiming just burns through that Taric, as the set just gets rumple-stompled. He actually gets ulted by Silas, which is pretty... No, sorry. As he ults away, that's when he gets taken out. And then Bono just baiting around. Jace gets the kill, comes through, and we reset for Shelly in the top side. So one will pick up that bot turret for KT. That brings it 2-0. And so one just continues to get richer on this Jace. He needed to get ahead. That's what all Jaces need to do. But there's the 20 CS lead I mentioned before. He's 900 gold on the next richest player, which is Ruler, and he's up nearly 2k on his lane opponent of the set. Not a fan of the Black Cleaver on the set, to be honest. I mean, the armor shred just doesn't do as much as Kuro comes out with an ulti, actually chipping Clid to half health. Pretty good Lancer poke on Corn, as I was saying before. Oh, a team fight, just a little skirmish. Drop Shelly mid, that'll probably finish off mid tier 1 as we form for Dragon. Clid will start this one up. He actually didn't mean to, he'll hop out of the pit. And then Shelly still isn't answered, so Sohan probably will see that off as both teams come for the Dragon fight. Nice poke through from Varus. Jace is dealing with a set behind the Dragon pit as both teams just do the little poke dash. Sage whiffs her ult as the Cosmic Radiance comes through. Shurima shuffle on 2. Set dunks into the pit. Kuro manages to find one. Jace finds another. As Varus Q will finish off the set, and that is KT's Dragon. Their first Dragon of the game. Oh my! Set with a Jace just dunking on them, and he just gets finished off by Azir, but Vel'Koz finishes up. That shock blast from the Jace is insane. So1 is actually kind of nuts on the Jace, as aiming will escort this wave to the turret and finish off the mid tier 2, which Shelly prepared earlier for him. As we go back to this fight, the poke from KT around this little skirmish is just so strong. As Braum lands the double ult, forces out the Cosmic Radiance early, it's a great Shurima shuffle from the Azir, but there's just too much damage coming through from the side of KT. They're just the mixed damage as well, with the Vel'Koz just poking out with his long range abilities as Jace lands a massive shock blast. But I feel like he was getting a bit cocky with the Jace pick as he tried to finish off the Azir, but lucky Kuro does clean up with the Vel'Koz ult. And the pro view coming through from Kuro piloting the Vel'Koz. We see him just throwing out Qs. We'll put down that GLP to slow them in the Cosmic Radiance, just playing at a range where he can get the max damage off without being touched. As he's actually doing a great job of just piloting at the range which the Gen G comp can't really touch him at. And then you'll see him playing around here, pinging where could the Azir be, sees him here, and then we'll just finish him off with the ultimate. With the 3 stacks of the Vel'Koz passive. This KT comp is just outranging Gen G in these skirmishes, with the poke coming through from the Vel'Koz, the Varus, and the Jace, just making the health bars of the Gen G lineup just actually disappear, which is quite. It's just KT are just doing a great job of executing what they need to do to win this game. Just poking down Gen G's lineup, and then engaging with the Sedge ult, which actually Bono has missed. I think everyone in all these team fights and the ganks has tried to do, which is a bit unfortunate for him, but just the slow being enough for the KT team to get this done. As KT will move on to the Baron and start this one up. Blue trinket comes through from Gen G. Holy So1 nearly one-shots Ruler with the enhanced shock blast. This Jace is just miles ahead of everyone else. Just this lethality damage just shredding through. He's got his serrated Dirk and 2 lethality items in. The total damage dealt. He's done no, and he's done double the damage of the next closest person on his team, and another 5k on Azir. He's done the most for Gen G. He's just his output. He's playing to his win condition. He had to get ahead, and he has, and he is pushing this ahead. It looks like he is going into the Edge of Night as his 3rd item, most likely to just give him that extra little bit of protection when he's in a side lane, knocking down these turrets, to avoid maybe a Silas ult from the Sedge, or if Silas steals Varus's ult, just give him that protection, so he's just that much harder to get on. As we fall into a little bit of a play around the Baron. As Baron is on the map, neither team wanting to commit to it yet. KT's just setting up. Got Sohan in the side lane. TP is for him. TP advantage coming through for KT as well, as they have 2 to the 1. As both BDD and Ruler have had to take the cleanse, with aiming only being the single person to take cleanse on the side of KT. As aiming will clean up this wave and ping pong it straight back to the Gen G side. As we see Kuro and aiming in this bush come out, and both teams are just back and forth fighting for this mid priority with Jace in the side. Bit of a 4-1. However, Gen G might be able to do stuff with Rascal's flank, but Sohan is behind him. Massive Shurima shuffle coming through from BDD. Gets 3 of them. Silas finishes the first one off, but Varus is getting damage. Kalista in the back line doing work. Bono, the Ren won't finish her off. Silas flashes forward, lands the E. Set will not. as that is a 1 for 3 coming through from Genji's side, as Ruler is putting in work on this Callista pick right now, getting massive amounts of damage, as he has hit his power spike of the Runards and the Blade of the Ruin King. As Genji will now get themselves an Ocean Dragon, and get them 1 away from Soul Point. I mean, where'd that come from? With Genji being only 3k gold now down. Let's see how this starts with BDD with a massive 3-man Shurima shuffle back. Silas confirming, getting Sedge altered. Set in the backline, dunks the Sedge into the team. And just the amount of damage both the Azir and the Callista are able to do, just shredding straight through the squishiness of this KT side. This isn't where KT wants to be. They don't want to be in a 5v5. They want Genji's health bars to be shredded before they go in for a fight. But BDD just sliding in for a massive 3-man ult to just set that up and get Genji back into the game, only now 2.8k behind in the gold department. If BDD can keep finding ults like that, KT will hit a point where they do get outscaled by Genji's side. As Callista will, only at 6 items be outscaled by the Varus, with Azir being just the premier shredding for Genji versus the Varus. The Jace will fall off, and Set will be infinitely more useful in a team fight once he does get 3 or 4 items, whereas Jace would like to be in a side lane just knocking down turrets. The Silas will get more and more dangerous as the game goes on. Once he hits 16, being able to take almost 2 ultimates in a team fight is kind of nuts. He can engage with the Varus ult or the Sedge ult, and then transition to maybe a Braum or a Vel'Koz to just finish off with massive amounts of damage, or a second wave of CC in a team fight. As we do see the Sun turret coming down from BDD to cheat on this wave and get it pushing ahead, setting up for this Baron. Rascal does have TP and is in the bot side. He will most likely just ping pong this back or force Soan to answer him in this bot wave, as Soan does come down to the bot side, just taking a blue buff and a Gromp on his way down to answer the set, as there is no immediacy of how he needs to get down there. Vel'Koz is starting to itemize into the Rabadon's death cap, looking for full damage output, raw stats, raw AP numbers as for his 3rd item. Where if you look at Genji's squad, there is just the 2 items to combat that Vel'Koz, in being the set with a Negatron cloak, and Taric with the Null Magic Mantle, which will most likely build into either the Locket or the Ziggs convergence for the Callista. Taric itemizing for an early redemption rather than a Knight's Vow could be interesting here, because while the redemption is good for majority of the team in a fight, giving that extra source of healing, a Knight's Vow will allow for Ruler to have the stats to maybe live 1 more Shock Blast from the Jace, or not get executed to Varus's enhanced Q either. And see if that redemption can turn the fight versus what a Knight's Vow would have provided. As we see Soan just ping-ponging this back, trying to get priority. Rascal will answer that, as we are in a bit of a lull state at the moment, waiting for the Baron to essentially... Well, Baron's up, waiting for this Drake to spawn. I doubt either team will make a play on the Baron. With the Varus with the 3 items you want versus the Callista with just 2.5, this is where KT would want to fight over something. Genji can't afford to give up this Ocean Dragon, because if Genji get this Ocean Soul, they will manage to have something to combat against the relentless poke of the Jace and the poke coming through from KT. But if KT manage to secure this Ocean Soul, it'll be a lot harder for Genji to sustain and keep up ready for a fight against Genji. I mean against KT, my bad. As the teleport flank coming through from Rascal, looking as he comes through and dunks the Braum back into the back line. Shurima Shuffle gets 3. Jace gets the solo kill on Kalista. As Jace just finishing off the set. Jace is doing work in this fight. Gets a triple kill. Gets a quadra kill. Is this a penta? And they hand the pentakill over to Soan with the pentakill. And this will be Baron for KT Rolster. This Jace just continues to just defy my expectations. As I mentioned before, the Jace isn't meant for this team fight. But he's just so far ahead and has so much gold over this Genji lineup. He's able to essentially assassinate the Kalista, shred through the front line, which is Set and Taric, which essentially isn't that squishy, so he's able to maul straight through them. As he will TP into this Baron to finish it off. With 4 lethality items and the Merc Shreds for the Jace. He has too much gold at this point. He's just doing too much damage. As they will secure this Baron and most likely start... Well, this is where they shine, to be honest, as we go back to this team fight. If we look, Braum lands an ult on Kalista, but as we see, the massive dunk coming through actually doesn't help, as Soan does manage to get on the Kalista and then turn his attention to first finishing off the set, then before turning to the Taric, and he will manage to finish off this Silas by dunking on him, and then KT just do the nice thing. They let the man have the pentakill, as we do see Soan on the pro view, as just look at the amount of damage he does. 1 rotation, killing each unit, and just finishing off what the Varus and the Vel'Koz set up for him, as Shock Blasts just execute this Genji lineup. As just, how nice. That's what friends are for. Just handing each other pentakills. It's beautiful to see. The Vel'Koz has managed to pick up this Death Cap for himself, which will make him infinitely more deadly, as Genji are forced to decide, do they want to itemize defensively with armor for the Jace to try and mitigate that burst from the Shock Blast, and if they do so, then Vel'Koz will just be dealing straight true damage with his passive and just enormous shredding that these numbers and these types of AP items do provide for him. As they just continue to poke down, let the siege minions finish off the bot inhib turret as they move on to the inhibitor. Very smart from KT, letting the cannons do the work for the siege for them, as now they back away and will most likely regroup either to the mid lane to finish off that inhibitor turret or reset. It looks as though the ping's coming through to go to this mid lane to now push this through as a 5 stack. Set is in a peculiar position right now. He is behind KT. I don't know if that's where he wants to be, as Kuro does catch him out. Bono with the ultimate, and he's just dead. The Haymaker won't do anything, as Bono flashes forward and finishes him off. Rascal has no business being there. He's super behind. He's had to itemize into the gargoyles to get anything out. He's not doing any damage this set anymore. He's basically gone tank. He is just a CC bot at this point, trying to soak up as much damage as he can, whilst trying to set up for the Sazir and Kalista pick. I don't see how Genji even manages to find a teamfight they want, as the Braum flashes forward with the ultimate, pulls up the Unbreakable, and Genji turn the tail and run away. as KT managed to find yet another inhibitor in the mid lane. This KT lineup is just, they're executing on their comp, as Brascal is just in a bad position. Like, he has no business being trying to set up for a flank, just gets caught by Kuro, and Bono finishes him off with an auto. He had no business being there, to be fair, and this Jace is just light years ahead of everyone. He's 5k, 5,500 gold up on his lane opponent. The CS difference is not that much, but they're just having 9 kills for the Jace. He's full build now. He's got his Guardian Angel. He's got exactly what he wants. Every useful lethality item at this point of the game. Sanguine Blade not being optimal due to missing some stats, as it's more of a split push item or solo item, and in this phase of the game there's no point building that one. It's more what you see on the Nocturne mid. It's a great item, but not for this Jace at this point. As Genji do turn to this dragon, Soan does scout that bush with a shock blade, and this is now soul point for both teams getting this ocean dragon. Genji is just so far behind at this point. 8k gold behind, and KT just turn their attention to the Baron, look for the setup, take the scuttle crab, do all the steps, dot their I's, cross their T's, and ensure that they manage to take this Baron with as much ease as possible. But as the game goes on, the Azir gets another item, as he has finished off his Illudens, Nashes, and the Zhonyas, and is working on what I assume would most likely be probably maybe the Leondries, I would assume, as Soan is level 18. His lane opponent is 16. He's 2 levels up on him. He's 5 levels up on the Genji support. It's quite a significant level lead. As the Twin Shadows comes out from Kuro, tagging BDD and Ruler. KT will clear out the division in this blue quadrant of Genji's jungle. To be honest, Genji just needs to delay. Their only hope is to somehow catch one of the KT members as Bono comes forward with the ulti. BDD is able to get away, and that's a ultimate blown, so that KT will look to bait out this Baron, as they will start it up and try to force a fight while they are still ahead in gold and items. This Jace just playing in the vision, trying to bully them with pokes from the shock blast. TP coming through for Rascal gets here. KT will hop off the Baron, as Varescu will come through, as Genji slowly chasing them down, running them. KT just bullying off Genji, but they are wasting time. Great flash through from Kuro, avoids the Dark Binding coming through from the Sylas, as Siren Turret will fall. Just time out, and as you see the Bolt Wave pushing for KT, if they delay enough KT roster, they will be able to maybe just get the inhib from the minions, from the Winions, as KT turn their attention back to the Baron. And Genji will have to respect the ability of aiming to shred straight through that Baron. And Clid will throw his Q over the wall, takes the blast cone over actually. I don't think he meant to click on that. I think that was a misclick, to be fair. As the poke comes through, J-Shock Blast takes the Zir to nearly half health. Varescu has started to do as Set will come through with the ultimate onto the Sejuani, and he is just in no man's land. Sejuani ult, kicks a field goal. Jace is just romping on that Azir. Varus in the aiming is in a bad spot and will be finished off by the Callista of Ruler. As KT just has Rascal running. And 2 more hits for Sejuani's passive, which will not be activated to stun Rascal. Now it comes through as big knock up from the Braum ult, as Clid will go golden. It gets finished off by the Jace, and so on, just destroying this Genji side, and they will look to end the game, as they do have minions pushing to finish this one, and so on, with his team on his back, the 11-1 Jace has just looked too far ahead the whole game, as they will most likely be able to end this one with just the Taric up at the moment. As is spawning in a second, as he comes up, KT will actually back off. They don't want to. No, they won't. They will look to end with the Demolish proc, Vel'Koz ult coming through, dealing true damage, and this is how well this Azir pick went for the mid lane, as KT will take this one over Gen G, going 1 up in the series.